we're gonna get started. Okay, I'd like to call to order the Monday, June 1st meeting of the Common Council of the City of Algoma. First of all, I'll have the clerk take the roll, please.
Audio into the speakers.
But it's not working.
Okay. Mehring. Dashlet.
Here.
Boer.
Here.
Gressel.
Here.
Weeze.
Here.
Meverden.
Here.
Pavic.
Here.
Schmidt.
Here.
All present. Let's please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Let the minutes reflect that this meeting is held in compliance with the open meeting law. Approval of the agenda as published, or are there any changes at this time? Hearing none, I'll accept a motion to approve.
So move.
Moved by Scott,
Second.
second by Mitch. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Approval of the meeting minutes from May 4th, 2020. Did everybody have a chance to review those? Any questions or corrections? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
John moved, Mitch second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment, do we have anybody here this evening under public comment? Or anybody that's on Zoom? Seeing none, then we will move on to item 8. General bills and credit card payments. Did everybody have a chance to review those? Any questions on any of those? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
Moved by Lee. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Jackie. Roll call vote, please.
Schmidt. Pavic.
Yes.
Meverden.
Yes.
Weeze.
Yes.
Gressel.
Yes. Yes.
Boer.
Yes.
Dashlet.
Yes. Yes.
Mehring.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have no request for conference attendance at this time? Do we have any other claims brought against the city besides the ones we have pending right now?
No, there's no new claims.
That's good to hear. Thank you. Okay, committee reports, of course, the committees have not been meeting. The only one, Finance and Personnel. We have minutes from that. I'll just go through those. A lot of the stuff that was discussed there will be brought up for approval by the council this evening. So first of all, the meeting was called to order on May 20th, 2020 at 8:30 a.m. by yours truly. The roll was taken. The meeting was declared to be held in compliance with the open meeting law. There was a motion made and second to approve the minutes of the April 15th meeting. Consideration of bills and claims and conference attendance were gone over. The bills were approved. Public comment, State Representative Joel Kitchen was present via Zoom, and he let the committee know that he would stay online for the duration of the meeting and kind of answered a few questions regarding the recent Supreme Court decision when we start discussing reopening our facilities, which we did later in the agenda. Pay scale proposal, City Administrator Jared Hine provided an overview of the proposed options for revisions to the current pay scale. Came up with 3 options. I think we're going to hold that over until the next Finance and Personnel meeting because there were 3 people that were absent from the council. I want to give them the opportunity to look at those options and study it a little bit further. There was a request by Eric Dean to put sand volleyball courts up at Peterson Park. He was directed to go and talk to Chairman Gressel and Sarah from the Park and Rec. Kathy Pavic presented an adopt a storm drain proposal, which was reviewed, which will be acted on tonight. There was seasonal part-time service worker, Randy Dashett, was approved. Consideration of license fee changes for 2020-2021 license period. Our city clerk, Jamie Jackson, shared a letter with the committee that she received from the Kewaunee County Tavern League requesting municipalities to forego license fees due to the required shutdowns under the governor's safe at home order. Jamie said that everyone had already submitted their license fee, so there was no reason to go back and try to reimburse. Review of qualifications for issues of license, that was talked about again, and decided to take a look at it further because our ordinance does require that in order for a establishment to receive a license, they do have to be open a minimum of 150 days during the term of the license. Review of the street occupancy permit process. That was something that I proposed to change that we'll act on tonight, and that was basically that the permit occupancy for leaving a trailer on the city streets or sidewalks and so on and so forth. In the past, there was a $100 fee, and it had to come before the council for approval. I asked that that be changed to a $25 fee and that it could be approved by Chief of Police, our Director of Public Works, and also the city administrator, so that we could eliminate the time that it takes to get those approved. Consideration of administration fee for invoicing. We'll talk a little bit more about that tonight. There was discussion about the city attorney representation at the meetings. It was talked about having him at the finance personnel and the council, or just the finance personnel meetings, or just the council. The committee felt that our administrator should bring a proposal from Blaskovic and Downey to the next finance and personnel committee meeting, which I'm sure he will. The TRC landfill monitoring contract was discussed, and there was a recommendation to approve it. That's something that we have no choice in the matter. It's a monitoring firm that for our old landfill that we do have to have a contract with by law, so we'll act on that tonight. Consideration of possible changes to the 2020-2024 capital improvement plan. Our Public Works Director, Matt Murphy, updated the committee on the budgetary constraints with keeping both the 6th Street Road and utility project between Fremont Street and Adams Street and the 6th Street Storm Lift Station project in the capital improvement plan for 2020. After a lengthy discussion, it was decided to move the 6th Street road and utility project back to 2021 and to concentrate on the lift station. Crescent Beach Stormwater Outfall Project, review of bids, and we'll act on those tonight. We'll get into a little bit more discussion later. Consideration of allowing the use of golf carts on the city streets. There had been a request from an individual if the city would allow golf carts. Chief Remaker gave a report on the requirements and dangers of allowing golf carts on city streets. There are safety concerns for operators of golf carts and major expense that coincide with allowing golf carts due to golf carts not qualifying as slow-moving vehicles. Basically there was no recommendation to allow them. Consideration to offer the purchase parking lot property near the fire station. This has been dragging on for a few months. We finally have the offer to purchase this evening that we'll act on, and we can get that cleared up so that the fire department will have additional parking. The city's response to the Supreme Court decision and possible reopening of public facilities. Administrator updated the committee on the minimal changes made since the Supreme Court's decision to overturn the extension of the governor's safe at home order. City Hall was opened back up to the public on May 15th, but all other facilities have remained closed. Joel Kitchen's providing some insight as to what he has been seeing in Door and Kewaunee counties as far as reopening. A discussion was held on the decision was made to resume committee meetings in June and continuing to offer both Zoom and in-person attendance for meetings of the Finance and Personnel Committee, Council, Redevelopment Authority, and any other meetings that may produce a large turnout. Parks, public restroom facilities, and the buildings at City Marina will remain closed. There will be no portable toilets or changing stations placed on the beach. The committee will readdress the opening of these facilities at the June meeting of the Finance and Personnel. There was a motion made and second to adjourn. The meeting was adjourned at 10:42 a.m. Any questions or concerns of that lengthy report? Hearing none. As you can see on the agenda, there were no other committee reports with the exception of library, so we're gonna drop right down to Mr. Mehring on library.
Algoma Public Library Board of Trustees met on May 18th, 2020. There were a couple on the go-to-meeting. Most were in the boardroom. It was called to order by Ann Schoenborn at 4 p.m. A motion was approved, seconded. Let's see, where am I? I'm so lost. Anyway, public input. There was no public input. Friends of the Library report. Sue Haas reported that the book corner is still currently closed. However, they are putting together a plan to reopen, pending what the volunteers, their part-time volunteers have to say about it. Kathy's director's report, curbside pickup is going very well. The first 4 days alone, the library had 328 circulations, with 69 people taking advantage of curbside pickup. Library patrons were excited to be able to get library materials again. Library staff are working all hours, and they are cleaning up and getting things organized and doing a heck of a job getting ready to reopen. They are also putting together the summer reading program for online app called BeanStack. Is that right? Stack.
Stack with a T.
Stack. Which was funded by the state. This app will allow patrons to log this summer reading hours through the app rather than coming in individually to the library. Patrons can't place hold on InfoSoup for library materials at this point because none of our participating other libraries are open and working on a hold position yet. Deliveries still have not begun throughout the other libraries, and we're not sure what time it may start up again. Revenues and disbursements were presented and approved. Library bills, a motion was approved. The May 20th expenditures. Old business, 2020 personnel policy was reviewed. New business, the vote for officers has been decided to table until the next library meeting. Plan for reopening. We're counting on the director to put together a cohesive plan so that we can open up gradually and in a safe manner. There was no closed session, and the next meeting, the meeting was adjourned at 4:35. Next meeting will be in June 15th at 4 p.m. This month, how about a test, a history test? Oh, great, says the mayor. This is an easy one. How's about June 6th, 1945?
D-Day.
D-Day. Excellent. How about June 5th? You got to put on your 1968.
Robert Kennedy's assassinated.
Oh, my goodness. Mitch is 2 for 2 tonight. June 11th, 1913. Now we're going to find out who the real fans are in this room.
Is that your birthday?
1913? Yeah, that's my birthday, you bet.
I'm glad you said it. I was thinking it.
Vince Lombardi's birthday.
Really?
Yep. Here's one that I know we're going to have an immediate response. June 14th, 1775. Chief? No idea?
Creation of Flag Day?
That's the Army's birthday.
Also pay attention, sir.
Oh,
Saw that.
he's fiddling.
He's playing
June 14th, 1775.
Birthday of the United States Army.
There you go. All right. And then for the real Wayback Machine, June 15th, 1215. Anybody?
Kathy?
Kathy? That's the day the Magna Carta was signed and the birth of democracy in Great Britain. So that's it for the tests.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions of Jake? Kathy, do you have anything to add? Okay, let's move on to medical board. John, are you ready?
May discuss the PPP program and how it applies to the medical board. We received, let me see, $302,596 for average medical costs. This is set up to provide a COVID-19 incentive supplemental payment, which the staff was able to take advantage of at the rate of $500 per pay period for every person working there. At the facility working. On May 28th, we had our regularly scheduled board meeting. Met at 4:30 via Zoom. Agenda was approved, minutes were approved. Financial information, we had an occupancy rate of 76.7%, average daily census of 32.2. We had revenue and expenses, but the bottom line was we had a net profit of $62,118. Those were approved. Old business. Part of our old business is that we picked up an employee assistance program to help the staff deal with the various stressors of what they're doing these days. It's a 3-year contract with Employee Resource Center for $3,200 per year. It was a roll call vote of 6 yes, 0 no, motion carried. Gene provided us a comparison of the PDPM payment methodology, and which we found to be favorable between the fourth quarter of 2019 and the first quarter of 2020. Truck repair. 3/4 ton gasoline engine with over 100,000 miles is not a new done. Only to find out that the fuel pump has problems, brakes are needed, and it's generally a cracked windshield may not be able to be repaired because of the rusted windshield frame. Truck trade-in value is $3,300. We understand that the Algoma utility has a 2002 one-ton diesel truck with 44,000 miles on it, and we were looking at that for a possibility. That truck already is set up for the V-plow to dump box. Kevin feels that the 1-ton may be a little too big for the facility needs and does not feel comfortable with it at this point. We're going to continue to research and discuss. Just continue. Go to the next slide. Parking lot lighting. Since the aggregate stone was overestimated in the project, the front lot was different from the back lot, and they found the required 12 inches of aggregate, I believe, in the back. And we will be getting a credit. As a result, we'll be able to afford parking lot lighting, and we sent out, got 3 bids. Of the 3 bids, the lowest bid was Bob Kleiman. Motion by Schmidt, second by Hepp, to contract for the parking lot lighting. Bob Kleiman for an amount of $1,875. Motion carried. There was no report from the Friends of the Long-Term Care. Under the administrative reports, we're holding stable at about 30 residents. We have built out and have staffed the Safe Harbor Quarantine Unit, which is where new admission residents are to remain for 14 days before we bring them into another room at the facility. Federal stimulus payments received totaling $209,044.92. We have some concerns about the south wing use at the conclusion of the Masonite contract. Our heads together to see what can be the next steps if Masonite relinquishes that area. Under staffing, we have a need for fill a cook's position, nursing on all shifts. All the staff and residents were tested for COVID-19 this past week. We're expecting the results today. I've not heard. Reopening the facility to be done slowly and safely. CMS guidelines were not made for a 42-bed facility in mind. We are asking resident family feedback before we open the doors. On the physical plant, the parking lot project is moving ahead. They made their first draw payment of $49,032.87. We have a roof leak with heavy rain downpours. The gasket around the vent pipes identified as a source. Kevin has talked around some of the vent pipes and contacted the gasket supplier for any warranty action. Next regular board meeting is on the 25th at 4:30, and we adjourned at 5:56. Are there any questions?
John, it was a little hard to understand. It sounded like paper shuffling or something, so I don't know if there's gonna be any questions. I know, Matt, you could probably give an update on the parking lot that we talked about today, so for everybody that, is curious about where we're at with that, so.
They finished the parking lot as of about 10:30 this morning, blacktopping. Both mats are done, complete. Everything went well finally this morning after a long last week. Even though it was a short week, it was a long, very long last week. We had planned, weather permitting with the humidity, to stripe it tomorrow and hope to have it opened and turned back over to the Med Center Wednesday, possibly Thursday. With that being said, there is some black ground and some grass seeding that has to be done in the front and the back parking lot, and a couple things on a punch list that'll have to be done. Electrical box in the front and the back that have to be installed yet. We're waiting for them to come in, and the overhead power that connects the front parking lot lights and the back parking lot lights, the overhead power cables still have to come down. But that should be something that we should be able to do under traffic in the parking lots, so.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any other questions of the report? Hearing none. Thanks, John. We'll move on to Utility Commission. Lee?
Utility Commission meeting was called to order by President Guy Hosh at 5:30 p.m. in compliance with the open meeting law. All members were present. Others present were Scott Weiss, Pete Hawk, and Nancy Johnson. Motion was made and second to adopt the agenda, and motion carried. Commission conducted an annual internal organization meeting. Schmidt motion, seconded by Dashlet, to appoint Bob Valise as president. Motion carried. Lease motion, seconded by Schmidt, to appoint Lee Dashlet vice president. Motion carried. Schmidt motion, seconded by Dashlet, to appoint Bennett as secretary treasurer. Motion carried. Schmidt motion, seconded by Valise, to appoint Hosh as the representative on the planning commission. Motion carried. There was a motion and second to approve the previous meeting minutes. Motion carried. Old business, the Stassen Street repair and cement work and blacktop is in progress, and as of now it is finished. Utility Commission reviewed the capital budget. It was for replacement of the 2002 dump truck. The Commission reviewed 3 different dealerships for bids. It was a recommendation. The estimated bid will be of 2021 preferred GMC Sierra, and the commission made a motion. There was a motion made and seconded to purchase the GMC pickup truck from Algoma Motors, along with the V-plow and stainless steel dump, through vendors out of the Green Bay area included with the purchase. There also was a subject that the city of Algoma was first in line to put bids in on the 2002 dump truck. The motion was made again, and then it was seconded and motion carried. Motion was made and seconded to approve the bills and payroll. Motion carried. Motion was made and seconded to approve the monthly financial report. Motion carried. The commission reviewed individual copies of job description, employees' accomplishments, and goals for review. The concept exception 2021 budget will remain on the agenda for further review. We did a slight manager's report, office manager's report. Motion was made and second to adjourn. Motion carried. Meeting adjourned at 6:21 p.m. Next meeting is Wednesday, June 19th at 5:30 p.m.
Questions or comments on Lee's report? Hearing none, we'll move on, thanks Lee, to Redevelopment Authority. Jared?
So just kind of following up on our meeting in April, we met on the 12th. We received an update on the project and the application from Gary Becker, our consultant. He had provided an updated kind of vision and scope for the project in following up from our April meeting, basically kind of a hybrid of different options there. And he just walked us through the draft, provided updated cost estimates, things of that nature. And so we are going to be holding our public hearings that are needed for the application next Tuesday for the Redevelopment Authority meeting. And then we will be submitting our application to, we'll be submitting the application by the 25th. That was the update we provided on that front. There was some discussion as well about some of the costs and getting into that. As far as particularly relocation, that was kind of the hot topic. But we answered the questions as best we could. So with that, that's really kind of all there is as far as the RDA goes from our May meeting.
Thank you, Jared. Any
Yep.
questions? Okay, hearing none, I'll accept the motion to approve the receipt of the committee reports that were presented tonight.
So moved.
Moved by Scott,
Second.
second by Lee. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. There's no old business for tonight, so we'll get right into new business. First, I need a motion to approve the hiring of Randy Dashett as a seasonal part-time marina service worker. That's coming as a recommendation from the Finance and Personnel.
So move.
Moved by Kevin, second by Scott. Any questions? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, approval of new and renewal operator license. I'm not gonna go through all these. The PP committee has not met, but I know our clerk has been very diligent and looking at all these, and all these are good, that were listed in your agenda tonight. So I'll be looking for a motion under B to approve the new and renewal operator license applications.
So moved.
Moved by Mitch,
Second.
second by Jackie. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Approval of the 2021 business license applications. Again, they were all listed in your agenda. I'll accept a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Scott,
Are they still gonna give the license to Burger Company or?
well, let's get a second and we'll just go. Is there a second by Lee? Any questions or discussion? Lee, you had a question?
Yeah, are they giving the permit, the license to the Burger Company?
Pardon?
I said, that's up to you.
Well, there's another one in question too, isn't there? She sent a letter that they're gonna discuss tonight.
Right, there's a letter in your packet from Stadium Diner. They have intent to reopen fairly soon, under new management. Burger Company did apply for their licenses, but haven't told me of any intent to reopen.
Have we
Might I
kept
make-
track? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, might I make a motion to amend approval and I don't know, not withhold, but put in abeyance Burger Company and Stadium Diner until they determine whether they're actually going to open or not. Can we do that?
Who made the motion on to approve? Scott? Scott would have to rescind his motion, and he would have to rescind his second, which is fine, we can do that.
I'll rescind my motion.
I resent my second.
Okay.
But the diner has any intention of opening, they say that. We haven't heard from the burger company, why are we gonna withhold theirs?
Jamie, I'll let you comment on.
I didn't hear exactly what you said.
Well, the burger company has expressed the interest opening soon.
Not
I mean, the
diner.
stadium diner.
Right.
So why would we withhold them?
Yeah,
Along
I
with-
don't know that you should withhold it either. I think if you.
And if
do,
we
it's
withhold
gonna-
it, then it's July.
It's gonna hold up their
I
getting
mean,
any alcohol.
give them
and
every
stuff in there.
chance in the world to open.
I don't think that they were the ones that questioned, it was the.
I was
But he added the burger.
I threw that in.
He threw it in with it.
Pending, you know, intent is a basket of roses.
Well, if you'd see the work he's doing in there, they're not
Okay.
doing it for nothing.
At any given moment, we reserve the right to
You can pull it.
pull it at any
Yeah.
time, if they're not complying with 150A.
Correct.
Okay.
Regulation.
Then I would say just the Burger Company.
That's the only thing I was asking, because it's been a year or more already that it's been sitting
The
there.
burger company.
So your motion, Jake, is to approve all the
All except for the Burger Company.
the
until
Burger
they-
Company?
Yeah.
How many days is the Burger Company open?
I was gonna say, did we count? I mean, we say it's been a long,
Or to us when they're open, so we would have no way of knowing. I'm pretty sure the door has been locked for over a year.
I think it's been a year, but I can't
It's
confirm
been
that.
over a year.
They were notified that they needed to, basically comply with city ordinances, and if they weren't, they kind of needed to come in and plead their case as to why they should keep their license.
Okay.
And when was that done, Jake?
They got letters in October.
Let me ask you a question now. When we talk about these, you know, there's certain criteria, your taxes and all that stuff have to be up to date.
Right.
Is that, not to, you know, pick on anybody, but is that criteria been met?
The only one that is not up to date on real estate taxes is Smash Bros. Rocks, but we can't do anything about it because the county pays us in full for those taxes. So if someone was delinquent on personal property, we could withhold their license, but we can't on real estate because we get paid for them regardless.
So these other ones that we're questioning, Burger Company is up to date?
They've all paid their
Okay.
taxes that way.
I see it's for sale, you know, so whether that means anything, I don't know, but is your motion then, Jake, you're making a motion to approve under item C, to approve these license with the exception of the Burger Company?
That is correct.
Okay. Is there a second to that?
I'll second.
Lee will second that. Is there any further discussion from anybody on Zoom? Casey, did you get your answer, did you get your question answered?
So, I mean, I guess the impetus was on the establishment to respond back to the letter that was sent out, so it's like a self-policing method, correct?
Correct.
But wait, will they have any, I guess my concern was, is there recourse then, let's say it is withheld, and then they say that there's no means of you know, verifying it, is it going to be problematic subsequent?
I think,
to the-
Casey, that they have the right to come in and plead their case in front of the council, then the council at that point can still issue it if they so desire. I think the clerk has made every effort with letters and everything to these establishments to let them know how the ordinance reads and it's time to come in and renew your license. I mean, I think it falls on the business owner to do that, and I don't think it falls on the council to have to, or the clerk to run after these people and say, hey, are you renewing your license? If they can't take the time to come and renew it, then I guess at this point, the council doesn't approve it, and they can come in and plead their case, just like Terry Hella is pleading hers. So, there was a motion and second, Is there any other questions on that? Then I'm gonna do a roll call vote on that.
Okay. Schmidt,
Schmidt?
Yes.
Pavic,
Yes.
Beverden,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Bressel,
Yes.
Boer,
Yes.
Dashlet,
Yes.
Mary.
Yes.
8 yeses?
Yep.
Thank you. Let's move on to item D, approval of revision to the street occupancy permit application. I'm taking it that everybody had an opportunity to look at this in advance. I'll entertain a motion and I'll open it for discussion. Moved
Make the
by,
motion. Oh,
who made that motion?
I don't think anybody did it.
I thought I saw some. Did somebody move at home? No? All right,
move. Me.
Kevin's moving. Is there a second?
I'll
second.
second.
Second by John. Okay, is there any discussion? Do you understand the intent and why I'm asking that this be done? No questions? Yeah.
I don't think there's any questions.
Does anybody have a question at home?
No.
No.
Okay. Then all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Authority, authorize Friends of Crescent Beach to start and adopt the storm drain initiative. For those of you that were absent at the Finance and Personnel, Kathy Pavic came in and well, she didn't actually come in, but she presented a program to adopt the storm drain initiative. There was pictures and stuff in the agenda from the Finance. Does everybody understand exactly what it is? I'll entertain a motion and then open for discussion.
I move that we accept the adopt a storm drain initiative.
Moved by John. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Casey. Is there any questions or no questions on that? Everybody understands it? She had talked to the Public Works Director. Matt had no problem with it, so it's just a matter of, and they're gonna basically do everything.
That is correct.
So it's not putting any additional work on your committee, so. Okay, if there are no questions, there's been a motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, then we're gonna move on to the accepting bids and awarding a contract for the Crescent Beach Stormwater Outfall Project. Everybody's had a chance to look at that. I'll accept the motion and then we'll discuss.
So moved.
Moved by Lee,
Second.
second by John. Is there any discussion or questions?
It does list that we've had some recent positive interactions with Peters. Matt, everything kosher? You got any other information on that? Everything's good?
Yes, that is correct. Triple P now, they did our 2019 road and utility work. They did our, I apologize, our 2018,
2020.
2019 and 2020 road and utility. They also have taken on this job now for fall, and they were also, 2 weeks ago, just awarded the Highway 42 project from Duval Street, that comes all the way up into County K in Algoma here, that they will be doing a mill and overlay along with some bridge work and a new bridge at 3 Mile Creek, that Lunda will be doing under Triple P's contract. So you'll see a lot of Peters Concrete or Triple P in the area here probably from now until the end of November.
You should have all seen there were 4 bidders. There was quite a difference between the low bid and the high bid. But again, Peters Concrete was the low bid in the amount of $252,004.25. Any other questions or comments on this? I'll do a roll call because of the amount of money.
Boer,
Yes.
Kressel,
Yes,
Weeze,
Yes.
Meverden,
Yes.
Havoc,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Mehring,
Yes.
Dashlet.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to Resolution 1020, authorizing a contract with TRC Environmental Corporation.
can I ask a question though?
We'll make a motion and then we'll
No, I
ask.
mean, any
Oh,
idea when that's gonna start?
Sorry.
Originally, it's gonna start after Shanty Days. With there being no Shanty Days now, there being no Wine Fest now, we're gonna have conversation here with the engineer and the contractor
Okay.
and work through that.
Okay,
I cannot give you, as soon as I get a date that we'll have a pre-con meeting, then we'll get a pretty good idea of when that'll start.
okay.
Okay. All right, then let's, I'm looking for a motion to authorizing a contract with TRC Environmental.
Moved.
Moved by Lee, or moved by Jake, excuse me. Is there a second?
Second?
Second by Mitch. Discussion. Everybody realizes this is something we don't have any control over. It's the monitoring for the old landfill, and TRC has been doing it for many, many years. They did attach their proposal, the scopes of services, the cost and everything, so if there are no other questions, I'll do a roll call on this too. No other questions? Roll call, please.
Okay. Meverden,
Yes.
Weeze, Kressel,
Yes,
Boer,
Yes.
Dashlet,
Yes.
Mehring, Schmidt,
Yes.
Havoc.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll move on to item H, Resolution 1021, authorizing the City of Algoma to submit a Community Development Block Grant CDBG application. This all ties in with our project that we're trying to get off the ground on Fifth Street. The RDA has been working closely with Jarrett. Jared, do you want to just talk a little bit about the monies that are
Yeah.
available?
Yep, so, right now we have for sure, well, air quotes guaranteed $680,000 from the county in our CDBG closed grant, fund that we're using to apply as matching funds to a CDBG public facilities grant, which we could get up to $1 million for our project. So we're looking at a potential total of $1.7 million to redevelop this block. And what we're looking to do is, acquire the blighted properties, knock them down, and then eventually replace them with low to moderate income housing. In a variety of, whether it's apartments or townhomes. There's a mixture that's proposed in the plan. At any rate, for the application, we need resolutions from the council saying they are authorizing the RDA to apply for the grant. And then there's a couple other items here which technically, if you want, we can talk about them, but it's all tied to that. So we need it's formalities basically to actually apply for the grant. The elected body basically saying we're authorizing the RDA to do this. So if there's any questions about it, I'm more than happy to answer.
What are we matching?
What's that?
What are we matching? What portion of this are we matching? $1 million for?
So the $680,000, well, 500,000 of it, that's the maximum. You can use to match up to twice that coming in, if that makes sense. So that's where the million's coming from. So we're using we're saying there's 500,000 of that 680. We're saying that's gonna match the public facilities grant, which is a competitive grant. And if you get it, you can get up to twice what you're using to match. So in other words, it's like a third. I'm sorry, does that make sense? I realize it's like.
2 for 1.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions?
This money is just infrastructure, right?
No, so this money can be used for blight elimination and
Okay.
low to moderate income housing.
Have we had contact with that gentleman that came here 2 years ago?
We have not. That being said, we are looking at a couple of different options as far as a developer. I guess I can't really go into too much detail about it, but we do have one route that we are pursuing with a specific developer.
Okay.
So that's, I'm optimistic, but, cautiously optimistic, I'd say at this point.
Well, you gotta get the money before you.
Well, that's
count
just
your
it. We
chickens.
need the money first, obviously, so that we know what we can even do.
That being said, item H and item I basically are together.
And Jay.
And, well, Jay, I want to talk a little bit about. But does anybody have any problem with taking H and I under one motion for two resolutions? I know that's legal. If nobody has a problem, I'll entertain a motion for resolution 1021 and 1022.
So move.
Moved by Lee,
Second.
second by Jackie. All those in favor, please say aye.
All right,
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, amending the citizen participation plan, okay? How do I want to say this? I read through this, and I understand why we have to do it, okay? But when I look at the makeup of the committee, I'm just feeling like I'm gonna have a real issue here trying to fill these spots. And is there any leeway on this or not, or is it bingo?
I don't have any more background than what this resolution is. Can you provide some more background, Mr. Mayor?
I can't. I just saw it when we got the thing, and I know why we have to have it. In order to qualify for the grant, we have to basically develop a citizen participation plan. So when you look at it and you read through it, it talks about establishing a committee composed of persons representing the city demographics. They have to be citizens too. They cannot be outside, but they want something from local government. That's not hard to fill. Real estate, I don't even know if we have a real estate person that operates out of the city of Algoma right now. Then banking, labor communities wherever possible. And I mean, the banking, I know we have a problem with RDA. I'm just concerned about trying to find people to fill this. But I know we need it, don't get me wrong.
So I'll answer to the best that I can, and if I leave anything out, I'll ask that Amber step out here and fill in any blanks. But there is an item later on the agenda under your appointments, Mayor, of appointing the RDA. So they would be that group in this case. Now, if we're looking at it outside of this particular grant application, and let's look at it big picture. I can't really answer why that language is the way it is specifically, if that's some sort of requirement. I would note, though, that it does say in there that the committee members should include representatives. So now are we getting into a semantics discussion about what does the word should mean?
Well, and the big one is the person that qualifies for the low to moderate income.
Yeah.
And I understand why they would want that individual serving on there, but
Well, the good news is, as far as like HUD is concerned, any retired person, regardless of what their retirement account looks like, is considered a low to moderate income because they're on a fixed income.
Is that really in the spirit of what they're trying to accomplish here, though?
Well, that's that's a different discussion. I would say probably not. But
Because it would seem that
Could very well. I mean, everybody that's retired isn't voted.
well, right, no, and I think that's really what the purpose of it is to get someone who is considered low to moderate income. Now, if you're a millionaire and you're retired and you're
Right.
drawing on a fixed income, technically by the definition that's low to moderate income. Now, I think we would all probably disagree with as Alderman Boer is getting at, that's not really in the spirit of it. But for this particular in this particular instance, we would be later. The mayor's recommendation is to appoint the RDA to act as this group as part of the citizen participation plan, and that fills almost all of this except the low to moderate income.
so are you telling me that when it gets to the appointments here,
Yeah.
that I can appoint the RDA to be the Citizen Participation Committee, and then I just need to find one individual? Because I don't have anybody on the RDA that's in real estate, correct? Or is this just a guideline and I don't have to
See,
follow it?
That's what I can't answer right now with 100% certainty. My gut tells me, looking at this, that this language was put in. Oh, she's okay. I'll just.
Amber's coming out,
I'm gonna step out just for a second. Currently, the Community Development Committee is your Citizens Advisory Committee.
closer so they can see your new shirt.
You can see my new shirt. Then I gotta stand in front of this camera. So the Citizens Advisory Committee was the Community Development Committee, and in this case, because of this grant, the Community Development Committee is not involved in that. The last CDBG grant we had was to do the comprehensive plan update, which the Community Development Committee assisted with.
Right.
So I don't believe we have a real estate agent on that committee. It still functioned as it was supposed to. What's in this plan is actually the template from the state. It is their words verbatim, we just insert our names and our committee names, that's it. So like Jared said, it's an advisory, you don't have to have.
So it's not etched in stone when it comes to say I have to have an individual from real estate, from banking or anything like that?
Not, my understanding is no.
Doesn't live in the city. They have to be residents, though. That part I totally understand. So what you're saying, though, Jared, when we get to the appointment part under the mayor, you're simply saying that we're appointing the current RDA committee to fit this role?
Correct.
And that'll suffice with,
Yep.
okay.
Not only will it suffice.
Thanks, Amber.
The recommendation from our consultant is that's actually, it would be his recommendation. We posed the idea to him, and he thought that was a really good idea.
Okay, are there any other questions? Everybody else?
Yes, I have a question. What is the threshold for low to medium income,
Me.
low to moderate income?
Me.
So in
Perfect.
a non-retirement fixed income sense, correct me if I'm assuming that's what you're getting at?
Yes.
I couldn't tell you an exact number off the top of my head. I wanna, this is just kind of going off of what, pulling a number from my head. I think less than 50,000 or less household income.
So virtually all of our newly hired teachers would qualify.
Sorry, our public works director is making some side comments here.
No, because it's household
Right,
income.
right.
So
Yeah.
It's household income, right?
at $25,000 and $13,000, they would qualify. It has
Right,
to be
yeah.
under household income, $50,000.
Yeah, and
Depends how many kids there are as well.
and I can't say exactly what that threshold is. That's just the number that's sticking out in my head right now.
I seem to remember that we were calling people who were making as a family under 45,000, and that was, I think, 5 years ago, see if we qualified for certain block grants. Have we reached out to the Live Algoma folks at all on this?
No,
No,
we have not.
Okay, it might be a source for people. I know that Teal is part of the CDC. I can bring that up to her on the third Monday of the month.
Well, we'll have that. This has to be approved along with the other part.
Well, as long as Jared's telling me that I can appoint the RDA, that's the route I'll go, because we need to keep moving this thing along so that we can apply for our grant. So, that's the direction I'll take. I'll take his recommendation when we get to mayor's appointments, if that's okay with everybody. Are there any other questions on this matter? We still need to approve this resolution. Moved by Jake,
Second.
second by Scott. Any other questions? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. Resolution amending the City of Algoma fee schedule, we're holding that over until, Finance and Personnel, correct? No? Oh, no, excuse me, that's the other one we're holding over. Fee schedule, yes, everybody had a chance to look at that?
So move.
Moved by Lee,
Second.
second by Scott. Any questions or comments on the fee schedule? Is everybody okay with it? Okay. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Date for the next Finance and Personnel meeting, there's been a couple conflicts. We're looking at June 15th, which would be a Monday at 8:30 a.m. or Tuesday, June 16th at 4 p.m. What's the wishes of the council?
June 16th works for me.
What was that, Kevin? I didn't hear.
The 16th works better for me.
We have a Public Works at 4 o'clock on 16th.
No? On Tuesday, you have your Public Works?
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 p.m.
Yes, I'm sorry, that is correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Parks and Rec will be meeting that night too.
Park and Rec that night too?
What time's that at?
Seven.
For right now.
So with the conflicts of those meetings, can we do it on Monday at 8:30? Or I never threw this out, or is Monday at 4 o'clock better then?
Library committee at 4 o'clock on Monday.
Okay,
I've got a CDC meeting at 6.
can we shoot for Monday at 8:30? I don't think this is gonna be too lengthy, is it? From what we're talking about now?
8:30 doesn't work for me. I've got a food pantry run at 8 o'clock
On that day?
on the 15th.
Really? You have one tomorrow morning, don't you, at 9?
That's a FEMA
Oh,
meeting.
okay.
I'm on day shift, but I can miss, that's fine.
The big item on the agenda is the pay scale.
Okay, the pay scale is gonna be the big item on the agenda, but again, do we hold that over for another month?
I mean, we can, it wouldn't take effect until the new year anyway.
Till January?
So, I mean.
Let me just take a straw poll. I'll start with you people at home. Kevin, what do you prefer?
I prefer Tuesday, but if it's Monday, I just can't go, that's fine.
Okay, John?
Tuesday is better for me as well.
Okay. Okay. Oh, Casey, excuse me. Casey?
Yeah, that's right. Monday would be better, but I'm sure I can make Tuesday work, so.
Okay, Jackie?
I prefer Tuesday.
Tuesday. Scott?
I would prefer Tuesday, later the better.
Mitch?
Tuesday's fine.
Lee?
For what, 8:30? On
No,
Tuesday?
Tuesday is,
We have Public Works on
We have
Tuesday.
Public Works at 4 p.m.
And then RDA later at 6.
we have a public hearing, don't we?
And then you have
Two
Park and
public
Rec.
hearings.
Oh, I thought you meant that in the morning.
It's 2, I'm sorry, that's 2 weeks.
2 weeks, I was gonna
jumping
say,
the gun.
boy, I don't have that one in my
Getting
calendar.
too excited.
Do you wanna move Public Works up a week?
Well, Tuesday, how about Tuesday at 8:30 in the morning?
Tuesday at 8:30 in the morning?
How long of a public works meeting you gonna have, Matt? Usually done within an hour, huh?
Yeah, hour and 20 minutes. But we can move it up a week, we can move it back a week. We
Yeah,
can do it the
you're right.
23rd.
Well, you haven't had one for how many months? So if you move it back a day or forward or backwards, does it make a
We could do
difference?
it on Wednesday too, I don't know what your schedule, I can make it work.
Well, we have the finance in the morning and we have utilities at,
9.
We won't have finance in the morning.
Won't have.
oh, no, I mean, but well, yeah, if we're gonna have it on Tuesday, huh?
Yeah, what if we just move Public Works back to the 23rd?
That'd be more in line to when it usually would fall anyway, towards the end of the month.
That's how it used to be.
Yes. I mean, it's up to you guys.
Whatever.
So then so that would be Tuesday then, at 4 o'clock?
4 o'clock.
And if you can move, who else had a meeting at 4 o'clock, or on Tuesday?
Parks and Rec due at 7. and
Well,
we-
you'll be
we-
done by
We should
7.
have plenty of time.
Is
It's
there any
just
other
a long
meetings
day.
that day? So if Public Works moves it, then Tuesday at 4 o'clock is okay?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Tuesday at 4 o'clock for the next finance meeting. Thank you. Mayor's appointments. Okay, appointment for alternate to Board of Appeals. That don't show up in here, but it was, number 1 was Dave Rickel. And number 2 was, Dave Robertson. Anybody have an issue with those? They're alternates on the Board of Appeals. So in other words, you have to have an alternate 1 and an alternate 2, so that if they plan a meeting and there's a conflict and somebody can't make it, they have 2 people to step in. Because the individual requesting it does pay a fee, so we try to work around that individual. So again, Dave Rickel, of Rickel Oil, and then the other one was Dave Robertson, and I don't know what his job is. I don't know what he does. Oh, that's right, he's the athletic director at the school, isn't he? So I'd like a motion to accept those 2.
So moved.
If they have school.
Moved by, was that Kevin?
Yeah.
Second
Second.
by John.
Yep.
All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Appointment of members to the Citizen Participation Committee. I would like to appoint the, excuse me?
We're gonna skip 13? Just wondering.
No, we'll come back to that after my appointments. Usually we have the administrator's report last, but that's okay. We'll come back to those. Because I just have this and then that's it. Appointment, I'd like to appoint the RDA committee to be the Citizen Participation Committee for CDBG loan.
So moved.
Moved by Jake,
Second.
second by Mitch. Any questions or comments? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Appointment of animal control officer by the city ordinance. The mayor needs to appoint an animal control officer. And since I've been getting phone calls on a particular problem, I decided I was going to appoint somebody. I talked to the chief of police to see if he had an officer that was willing to take that, and he has volunteered, so I'm going to appoint the chief of police as our animal control officer. I'll accept the motion to confirm my appointment. Moved by Lee,
Second.
second by Jackie. Any questions on my appointment? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed, motion carried. Let us go back to the administrator's
No
lengthy
skunks.
report.
No skunk.
So update on zoning board of appeals, we have received another variance request. This is for, a property owner on Lawndale Avenue is looking to expand his garage. So he's requesting a variance from, a number of, zoning requirements. That will be on this Thursday, or, excuse me, this Wednesday. I keep thinking it's Thursday. It's this Wednesday, June 3rd. Redevelopment, we've already talked about that, a bit tonight. I'll just take this opportunity. I do have an answer to Alderman Pabick's question about the low to moderate income housing. It's based on the area median income. If it's less than 50%, that's considered low income. If it's between 50 and 60%, that's considered moderate income. That's just what I quick found on a search. So just throwing that out there. That's what constitutes low to moderate income.
Jared, you're breaking up.
Oh. I was just giving the numbers for the threshold for what constitutes low to moderate income. So it's based on the area median income. If it's less than 50%, that's considered low income. If it's between 50 and 60, that's considered moderate income. So kind of getting back to your question from before.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. COVID-19 update, I have a couple of things here. As we talked about at the last Finance and Personnel Committee meeting, City Hall has been reopened. However, we still have not opened our other facilities, just due to staffing and security, safety concerns as far as sanitization. Our committee and commission groups are meeting again starting this month, as we already mentioned here. And we're still encouraging people to use Zoom for those meetings. Obviously, you don't have to, but we're trying to encourage it. And I do have an update since this report was put together and sent out. So you may have heard about the CARES Act and the monies that are being diverted from the state to local governments. Representative Kitchens actually reached out to me and we discussed this on Friday. The city of Algoma does have allocated to it $50,000 that we can pursue for reimbursement. The issue though is that it's all expenditure related. In other words, it all has to be a direct expense as a result of coronavirus. The reason I stress that is because we're talking about a relatively minimal amount. The cost of our Zoom account. I guess maybe we could try and argue the postage for the absentee ballots, but not really, because then theoretically someone could have requested that regardless. So that, as far as the expense side goes, we're very limited there. What I expressed to the representative was, really the big challenge is it's not an expenditure question, it's going to be a revenue question. That's where municipalities are going to get hit, is from a loss of revenue, from room tax, sales tax, that sort of stuff. So I don't know what that means. Are they going to try and lobby with the governor or whomever the powers that be to get that changed, to free up those monies for lost revenue? I hope so, but if they don't, we're looking at a pretty minimal amount of money, because it has to be directly related to the COVID-19 and an expense that wasn't budgeted for. So
What's the time frame on this?
End of July, end of August, I think, is the
Cutoff?
yeah.
Has that question been asked about the revenue side?
Well, so when I spoke with Representative Kitchens on Friday, it sounds like that's what the legislature is going to be trying to work on, is altering it. But that's really the last I know of it.
And the other question is that part two, if this money is going to be made available and it has to be directly related to the COVID-19, the only source that I could think of that it would even remotely be beneficial would direct it to the medical center.
Yeah.
And from their mitigation standpoints.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that would be option B for me if it couldn't be on the revenue side.
Yeah, and I can reach out to the Med Center administrator as well and see if they have an accounting of the costs that they've incurred directly related to it, and then we can apply for that and see if that.
Jared, what about the increased cost of PPE for first responders?
That would be eligible.
All the sanitation stuff for the squads and equipment?
So that certainly would be eligible. We would have to make sure, though, that all of that was clearly accounted for, that it was an added expense. So, for example, here in the council chambers, we have all these bottles of hand sanitizer, and there was a bunch of PPE equipment provided for the election, but all of that was donated.
Right.
So I don't know at the fire department exactly how much of that was donated versus how much of that was purchased as an unbudgeted expense.
How about in the chief's department?
For the police department, we track it all, it's about $2,000.
So
There is some from the fire department that was purchased, because I know
Okay.
signing a check, I think Kelly picked up some stuff for that.
Well, and just in the bills today, it was
Yeah.
minimal, $200 for
Mhm.
one UV light. But we could probably, if we got 2 ambulances, it'd be nice to have one in each, or maybe more.
So we do have our staff meeting tomorrow, so we'll talk about it there as well with the fire chief, and Randy will be there as well. So we'll kind of put our heads together and start coming up with the eligible expenses. But I just wanted to provide an update on that.
Are there stipulations or clarification on what does and what doesn't qualify as far as being reimbursed expense?
It's not a very detailed list, but there is a list. It's basically, the simplest way to put it is PPE that was purchased, that is very clearly as a result of this. So face masks, gloves,
Yeah.
hand sanitizer, that kind of stuff. Equipment used if you built like, if we had built like plexiglass shields on election day, for example. We didn't do that, but had we done that,
So it's more or less infrastructure and PPE related?
Yeah.
Yeah, how about the library? Kathy, do you have any idea what you've spent?
Not offhand, but I know we've had to buy extras. We bought some sneeze guards and things like that.
So there may be enough to spread around all of the departments to make it worth our while to figure out what that amount is.
I know in the conversation that I had Friday morning with Joel Kitchens before I referred him over to talk to Jared, he was not happy with the stipulations that were put in place to qualify for this money. And I know he was talking to other representatives to try to get a group together to convince them to loosen it up, so to speak. That, I mean, Sturgeon Bay, I think, has got like 250,000 that they're looking at. You know, that's, but again, they're having a real issue trying to see what's qualifying for that. So I think the nursing home might be a good area, though, that after you talk to Gene, and I think John will attest, there's been a lot of stuff going on up there that's been additional cost. So maybe that would help us out.
If there was, I mean, you could go all the way down to if there was an employee that left or multiple and you had to hire hiring services to replenish them, and it was all because of, where does it stop?
Yeah. Okay.
Can it be used to prepare for the next time? I mean, we had our biggest thing at the ambulance was the suits. We have gloves, I mean, it's a matter of being able to get them if they're available, but we didn't buy a ton of suits because we generally didn't use them. And because they just sit there, but if we could buy 20 of them and get reimbursed, or 40 of them, whatever, store them away, because who knows when we're gonna need them next. Is that,
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
that might be something we wanna do, if it is.
Yeah, my concern with that is that it's meant as a reimbursement for expenses occurred as a reaction to it. So could we do it where we're basically stockpiling some of this stuff and then requesting reimbursement for that? I'm sure we could probably do something like that, but whether or not that's actually allowed is another matter, if that makes sense. But I can certainly look into that.
Okay. Any other questions of Jared? Anything that's not on the report that you want to ask him at this time?
Did we get the boards put on the bar, or did they actually do that on Navarino?
Oh, the property, so yeah, the property owner actually came up himself last weekend or Memorial Day weekend and boarded up the property himself with some contractors, so, yeah, obviously
least it's done.
Yeah,
He's
we're,
not talking about taking it down, is he?
well, that's another matter, I'm sure, but, you know, to the extent that it's now boarded up, we're very happy with the property owner's response to our letter to him. Obviously, we're not done with that property, but for now, it's relatively safe, or safer.
Any other questions of Jared? Any items for our next council meeting that anybody wants on the agenda? Anybody at home, anything you want on the agenda for next council meeting? Okay, and then we are going to adjourn.
Oh.
Go ahead,
There's
John.
nothing.
Your volume's all goofed up.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything for about 3 minutes.
All I'm hearing is like Morse code in the background. Yeah.
It was pretty garbled for the past 3 minutes, 4 minutes at least.
At least.
What was the last thing you heard?
You were recounting your conversation with Rep Kitchens last Friday, and then it went.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, so you got the beginning of Jared's report? And then he started talking about this stimulus money from, so.
Yep, I heard that.
What are we missing?
Yes, we heard that.
The bar.
Oh, Mitch asked.
That's a good question.
Mitch asked about the the bar on the corner of Navarino
Seven,
and Seventh,
six.
or Sixth, about the boarding up of the windows, and he asked if the city did that or if the property owner did, and we did send a letter. Police department sent a letter to the property owner. He did come up Memorial Day weekend, and he boarded it all up. So, which is a little better sight anyway, and it's preventing all the rodents and everything that are nesting in there. I think that was the last thing we talked about, right?
Yep.
So then I asked if there was any agenda items for next month that you wanted on the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, have we heard anything about the lighthouse?
No, nothing. And that's funny because when we started that whole process with the lighthouse, when our previous administrator was here, I was under the impression that they came to us and said, do you want the lighthouse? And we
Right.
said yes.
Right.
And it was all supposed to be done, all the paperwork was supposed to be done, it was all sent in. Amber got some communication some time ago about it, and that was the first that I had heard that it wasn't a done deal. I thought we actually had ownership of it. But that seems not to be the case.
We were waiting for the deed from GSA.
And I agree with you, and we were supposed to get it. I know that's what the prior administrator said, that we would be getting the deed, and we had ownership of the lighthouse. But that's not the communications that Amber got.
Who did she get that from?
Just a sec, she's coming out.
I don't know the gentleman's name. We did get an email from someone in the federal government, I think it was with, Army Corps of Engineers, and it didn't sound like it was a done deal, like there was still more work to be done.
Yeah.
I had responded and asked them to let us know what we needed to do, and we have not heard anything since. That was December, so.
So do we have that information to follow up with that individual, or
Yes.
are we, waking up a sleeping dog here?
Well, we have a pretty thick file on it at this point. I mean, it's bounced back and forth between GSA, the Coast Guard Civil Engineering Office, the back up to, was it Bureau of, I want to say Land Management, but I don't think that's correct. There's Department of Interior, that's what it was, National Parks. So you've got multiple federal agencies involved, but the last I heard, we were waiting for a deed to be issued by GSA.
I think, John, we're gonna have to have Amber and Jared follow up on this tomorrow. It's kinda like the South Pier. I'm told by Gallagher's office that they're going to be able to find some emergency money. I know Matt has reached out to our local representative, and we have heard nothing. And that was, about 2 months ago that I got that email on the South Pier that they were gonna find some money and it was gonna be fixed, but we still haven't heard anything. I know government moves slow, but
So Jared just found the email. The last communication we got from them basically told us there was a bunch of reorganization and some retirements and some other stuff going on. It said nothing about transferring the deed over to us, only about leasing it to us. So there, like I said, there's a lot that needs to be done yet. We need to figure out what's going on.
do we happen to have the file, the original
Yes.
file?
I have a box of all lighthouse related stuff.
Okay. Okay, so we need to start from square one, the way it sounds. Now, nobody ever told us about leasing it.
No, that was the first time I'd ever
Yeah.
done this, so.
Why
Okay,
would we want to lease a lighthouse?
yeah. We'll give Amber a couple weeks and Jared to check into it.
If it's
We'll
a
put it
park,
on the
why not?
agenda for the finance and personnel, and hopefully we'll have an answer by then. Is that all right, Jared, or you want to wait till next council meeting? Give you a month?
Yeah, I don't know how much we're gonna have by then, because it's kind of the balls in the court of the court, thank you.
sorry to interrupt,
No,
Jared, but
please,
just to
please.
touch it, and we're dealing, myself and the mayor are dealing with, to fill everybody in, the Corps of Engineers, Detroit district office where our region works out of, they are doing a massive overhaul on the Great Lakes of who reports where. So Bob Stanek, who oversees our area here, is now moving his office, or in the process of moving their offices down to Chicago, and our area here on the Great Lakes will report to the Chicago office for the Corps now, no longer the Detroit district office. So that's part of the problem, and with that being said, there's people, some are staying in Detroit, some are moving to Chicago, some from Chicago are coming to Detroit. Don't ask why the reason, something that's happening at that level. So, that I do know.
Any other questions? We'll give Jared and his staff a month to come back with some answers on the lighthouse then.
You can keep us posted at the.
Yeah, you can give us an update at finance, but hopefully we'll get something rolling. Okay, any other items for the agenda for next month? Hearing none, I'll accept the motion to go into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.851E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business wherever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. Consideration offered to purchase the purpose of public safety, employee parking. Moved by Scott. Second by Lee. Roll call vote.
Russell,
Yes.
Lees,
Yes.
Heffernan.
Yep.
Havoc,
Yes.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Mehring,
Yes.
Dashlet,
Yes.
Boer.
Yes.
No. The only one that, well, really, nobody needs to be here.